Hey everyone, and welcome to the weekly catch-up podcast. It is Wednesday, February 26, 2020. I'm your host, Carson Gibbons, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. B-Rad Colvin.
That'd be me.
What's up, man?
Oh, man, hanging out.
We're back on a Wednesday, 2 weeks in a row.
Episode 20.
Oh, yeah, it's Venti.
Oh,
Episode
yeah.
Venti.
Shout out.
Diaz.
Nailed it.
All right, well, I didn't realize that we were ordering a 20 at Starbucks this entire time.
Hey, all right, man. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get it.
It's the weekly catch up with Carson and Brad. Here to talk about the week we done had. It could be sports, religion, politics, we keeping the tabs. You would think they work for Gucci, how they deep in they bag. Get your facts up. On Wednesday we'll be counting the stats up. So turn the volume up till it's maxed up. You know the drill. So tell a friend to relax up and chill. We back up. This is the weekly catch up.
Shout out to David the Psalmist for that lovely intro.
Yes, thank you, Mr. David.
Yeah, man. How's it going, Carson Gibbons?
Man, it's going.
Yeah?
Hump day, baby.
Hump day. Made
Yeah.
it halfway through the week.
What a crazy week already.
How so?
Oh, just there's a lot going on. I meant to update you. You remember how last week I told you at the very end of the podcast that I was going to be able to join my family for a mountain vacation last weekend?
Oh, no.
So I don't know what I was thinking, but I booked all these flights late at night. I was very tired.
Yeah.
And wasn't the weekend that my family was going to the mountains.
That is gold.
I just started like looking at the calendar and reconciling their texts, and I was like, why did I buy flights to go there this weekend?
Oh,
Like,
no.
they're going this weekend.
And you can't make that?
No, I'm going to make it.
Okay.
So that's part of the
Well,
reason why this week is crazy, because
Got it.
once I found out that last weekend wasn't the vacation, I'm like, well, this is so convenient now. Like, it's another week away. I don't know why I was under the pressure so much, but yeah, my dad had just texted me and said, hey, dude, you should come join. Like, just fly to Albuquerque. We're going to Red River, New Mexico.
Yeah.
Which was our old stomping ground as a family growing up. We always went skiing there. Probably
Nice.
12 consecutive years is my guess.
That's great.
So a lot of childhood memories and good things occurred there. And so I had been brooding on the fact that they were all going to be there without me on this family vacation. And last week I told you about the last family vacation to the Broadmoor. And so I have rosy memories of these folks.
Right.
My immediate family.
Yeah.
And so I got to join. I'm going to fly out after work on Friday and then fly back Sunday. So
Okay.
it's going to be a quick
Little weekend.
love field to Albuquerque, rent a car, drive 3 hours, get it done.
Cool.
So anyway.
Well, I'm glad you're still able to make it.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Oh, I can just picture you freaking out after you realize the dates.
Yeah, I think I was in transition too. Like I was going from, I think it was first realized in the shower or something like that. And I was like, I'm going to look into this at work, because I go to work early to meditate and, check any personal email and stuff like that prior to kind of getting into the day, if you will.
Yeah.
And so I
Did
was
the
like,
meditation work?
well, dude, I've just been going through this. Yes, meditation works. Like,
No, I know it works. I'm asking
But-
particularly in this instance.
no, I've been going through the
were you better
Twilight
off?
Zone
Were you
over
better
here.
off for it?
Dude, literally, speaking of meditation and weird things, I come out of meditation on Monday morning. I'd gone and tucked myself into the furthermost pod from everybody, a little bit of privacy, and I put on the AirPods. I turn on Sam Harris Waking Up podcast. Meditation app, and I go to one of the practice sessions.
Okay.
And I come out of it, and I always put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I look at my phone, and it says that it's 8:13 a.m. But my watch that is always on my wrist says that it's 8:27 a.m. And I literally, in this moment, I'd had some Wi-Fi issues the day before. I thought to myself, maybe Apple needs a refresh. Like, I trusted the watch over the phone. And
Yikes.
so then I start replaying, have I brushed up against anything with my wrist to the extent that it would have moved the tiny little dial
Yeah.
to like move the time that precise amount? because like it wasn't like it was 3:32 p.m. and the hands had stopped ticking.
Right.
That was my first thought, was the battery was out and it had frozen at a different time. But no, it was the same day. It was just about 13 minutes off. And so I'm running around trying to find a third opinion on what time it actually is. And that was coming out of meditation. So I was like, what did Sam do to me?
That's great. It's funny that we just like, I'm wearing my Apple Watch right now and it's been dead all day. Like, it was dead this morning when I put it on.
I never thought about those things running out of battery per se.
Right.
Are they not solar powered?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you charge them. And
how annoying.
Yeah, they last for hours, but it's like, you're wearing it. Somebody asks you for the time. It's like, sorry, my watch is dead. Anyway.
You're like, it's Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs' clock. It's dead.
That was good. That was good.
Hey.
I like that one.
You're welcome. What you got? How's your week going, buddy?
My week's going well. We had a career day yesterday, and so I only had a half day of work. And that half of work that I did have, people were just in my room trying to convince these kids that their job is awesome.
That Votech is the way to go?
Yeah.
What industries did you have represented there?
So our principal's son came in with his business partner, and years ago they started a company and of like installation for doors and windows, and they actually I guess made a contract with Home Depot, and so they were like, that company was the sole company in charge of installing all those doors that were ordered from Home Depot. And then that business was sold, and now they're doing the same thing for Lowe's. And so they just came in to talk to our students about that, and how, they had gone the college route, but then ended up being college dropouts, but they're still really successful. They were like, yeah, starting out, our people get paid about 60 to 80 grand. And then I'm just over here like, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a card?
You're jumping out of the window to go apply.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, kids, well, listen up.
Class is dismissed. If you need me, I'll be in the restoration aisle.
Yeah, and they were there for my first two classes, the first two sessions, and then I had two more people come into my classroom. There were several in a bunch of different classrooms, but I had three different people come into mine doing two sessions each. But that first one was the most interesting to me, just because they were funny dudes, and the stories that they were telling were pretty great.
Sounds like they've had some pretty good success.
Oh yeah, definitely. They both just bought like houses in the same neighborhood, and they planned I guess they chose everything, so they started from scratch and got to choose everything.
They chose all the doors and windows.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Amongst other things. So.
Wow, they ballin' when they choosing doors and windows.
That's what I'm saying.
Man,
dude, doors themselves can be
that
expensive.
And it's amazing what an accent piece it is for your curb appeal. Yeah. Honestly, shutters, doors. I don't know. I've always liked the more modern homes. I don't know. We can get into that another time. But so what was the call to action? Like, what? Let's say that they met a student. Let's say that they met Billy, and he's like, "Listen, I'm a doors and windows man. College isn't for me."
Yeah. No.
What happens?
So some of the kids were like, "Well, can we apply now?" And they're like, "Well, are you 18?" And the kids in my room, I have some 12th graders that are 18.
What about the 19-year-old?
No. And they were like, "Well, if you're 18, then you can't apply." And so, I mean, they were more than open to it. The second person that came into my room was an entrepreneur, and he gave more examples of Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, and really didn't talk about what he does so much. So the kids weren't super convinced going that route.
What, to just talk about people and not do anything yourself?
Yeah.
Lane?
Yeah. And then the third one was a sheriff deputy.
Oh.
Yeah, and she she's only been a sheriff deputy for, I guess, 6 or 9 months now.
Mrs. Officer.
Yeah, she's 21, 22. She is a graduate from CTA. So I guess they were familiar with her.
So really locally sourced folks.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was just going to be big box. You want to be a nurse? You want to be a teacher? You want to be a pastor?
No, we had dentists, we had construction workers, chiropractors, a bunch of different stuff.
How do you feel about chiropractors? Do you think that's a real thing? Because I hear that it's like totally technically not.
I hear it's a temporary thing, like temporary relief.
Right, but the actual practice is nothing medical, is what I've heard.
Yeah, it's just like, here's a garbage can, like bend over it.
Okay. Is that what's going on in there?
I'm pretty sure that's like an episode of The Simpsons or something.
Yeah.
Just like popping their back over something. It's just like giving them a little shove.
You remember crossing your arms and having somebody pick you up from behind to pop your back real good?
I miss those days.
Yeah.
Now nobody can
I need
pick me
one of
up.
those. Well, you can pick me up after this, and I'm definitely going to make you do that if I remember.
All right.
I will repay you unless I cannot find you or I forget.
Great.
That's my dad's favorite line from Shrek.
Love it.
So cool. Career day. So you had a half day yesterday.
Yeah.
Boy, you're just chilling. You're just laying in the cut.
You know, life is a box of roses.
Nice.
Chocolate. I was gonna life's like a box of chocolates, but I know what I'm getting.
Well, I'm more confused than when you started. You clarified, and I'm more confused now.
Yeah, no, it just, just trying to move on.
All right. Brad's high on life, folks. So I heard your daddy recruited some new listeners, and they got some ideas.
Yeah, shout out to Heather Laws and her family for giving us a little listen. On the last podcast, we had kind of just told the fans to give us any ideas that they had, to like, what should we call our fans? And
I can't believe anybody thought that we were serious, like we actually wanted their feedback. I'm playing. I want all the feedback.
Yeah. And I guess I'll start off with my dad's.
Oh, yeah. Please do.
Which is going to be a top contender.
All right. This is what Dean thinks that we should call the Weekly Catch-Up Podcast fans.
Yeah. And drum roll, please.
Wow. I really regret having done that.
Oh.
I wish I hadn't done that. I feel like that's going to play awfully.
That's going to be great. Good soundbite. The Weekly Herrings.
Okay. Like red herrings or?
Well, but like, it's like supposed to be like, because they listen so they hear, but it's
Is he talking about the
like
bird?
the bird. Yeah.
They listen because they hear?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Anyway, moving on.
Wait. Go back. Explain.
The
Weekly Herrings?
I will bring about a part 2 for him after he listens to this. I'm sure he'll explain.
Okay. So you didn't even seek further clarification. You were just like, pass.
Kind of.
Okay.
But
did he have more?
I think he came up with a few other, like, I think he just said like peeps and a few other things, but
yeah, that's an option.
Anyway,
he's like, why don't you call them listeners?
See, my dad always loves whenever you give me a hard time, and now that it's on him,
I know.
I hope you're enjoying this
I stuck up for him on Uptown Girl last week.
Oh, definitely.
I definitely went hard on the sauna stuff, but
yeah, you're right. So,
I mean, my dad continues to maintain that he and Dean should get together for a catch-up podcast called
I forgot
the weekly cleanup podcast.
Yeah, I forgot to tell my dad that.
Us. Yeah.
So, yeah, the weekly cleanup.
Dean, my dad, Bob, wants to, now that our moms have met, Dean, Bob. So my dad, he just presents this as a matter of fact. He's like, I maintain Brad's dad and I should get together and do the weekly cleanup after you boys.
Oh, man, that's gold.
They're our biggest fans, though.
Yeah. Love that. Anyway, so Heather Laws, and it would maybe have been one of her sons. So we're the Weekly Catch-Up, and I have my little pun about the ketchup and the mustard little bit.
Oh, dude, I never understood what you were saying with that. That makes complete sense now.
Yeah, and you've had this revelation on air before, too.
No, you didn't explain it well.
Okay.
I didn't realize. I just went along with it the first time.
Yeah, because I explained that there are condiments. Anyway.
Right, I did not.
Yeah.
I just now got that for the first. I've gone along with it to the extent that I say it's the mustard of the week.
Yeah, with ketchup and mustard.
Dude, I feel so stupid.
Yeah,
It's like
now it's pretty clever, right?
It's like when you listen to a song in a different frame of mind that you've already listened to 1,000 times, but on 1,001st time, you actually get it for the first time.
Yeah, that happens to me.
Okay. That's
get
how
what
I
you're
feel with what you're saying right
Okay. Well, since we're the weekly catch up, she thinks the fan should be called either French fries or tater tots because you have tater tots like with ketchup, you know?
now. Okay. I'm just now realizing that everybody thinks that we're the catch-up podcast.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's just a pun.
you didn't put the hyphen or the little dash in the logo.
Well, ketchup spelled differently anyway. Like, so that's not the issue. It's just a pun.
Okay. So the French fries?
Yeah.
Okay.
French fries or tater tots.
Okay.
It's not. It's I.
That's an idea,
Yeah.
Heather. Thank you for that. Heather Laws?
Yeah,
Like Laws?
that's right.
That's Laws.
Yeah, she's my dentist.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, you French fries out there, you tots and bots.
Let's catch up.
All right.
All right.
Wow, I think I like the herrings. All right, Dean, you win this round of. I'm just.
I love it.
Can I pass on all of them, or what's?
No, we have to make a decision now. I told you to come up with something.
I think the
That was
weeklies tops all of that, right?
Yeah, the weeklies was always my favorite. But
that's what we tweeted this week as well.
yeah, but maybe well, yeah, I don't know.
I want to Heather Laws and fam round 2. Like, keep it going. I just connected the dots on what Brad has been talking about for the past 20 weeks now. So, I'm not enlightened by any means. So show me the way. There might be more puns that this show might take on a whole new flavor, if you will.
Whoa, now he's joining in. Now he gets it.
All right. Why are you trying not to laugh?
Because I don't want to be loud into the microphone.
Oh, just do it. Rip and roar, baby.
All right. What do you want to talk about first this week, man?
Dude, I don't care. I've got, I guess, some current events that I could. Well, I'm trying to think. There's been some primaries. I know you hate talking about all that.
Yeah, there were
There's
some debates last night.
Apparently, 150 million Americans have been murdered since 2007,
according to
Mr. Joe Biden.
Yeah.
the matter of fact, in fact, what we need to be doing, in fact, is to everything is
in the facts.
He always goes, in fact, like he has these transitions that's his entire like platform now.
Yeah.
Is just
in fact is his or
fact,
like
yes.
Yeah.
It was torture to have to watch him last night. And then you see somebody of equal age in Bernie, and it would pan to Bernie directly next to him, and Bernie was like light speeds ahead of him, just so much more articulate, with it, passionate. He knew what was going on.
Yes.
I feel bad for Biden. Like,
yeah,
he's a nice set of veneers on a dying man.
He should have stayed Obama's meme.
Yeah. Oh, we got stuff to talk about on memes too.
Oh, okay.
We'll come back to politics, okay?
All right. Take us down this little road.
Did you catch any of Kobe's funeral?
Oh, we're about to talk about Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched all of Michael's speech.
Same. It was roughly like 10 minutes or something like
12,
that.
12. And the fact that he was able to be funny and sentimental and vulnerable and all of these different things. I like it when people demonstrate their closeness to the deceased by making a joke, or he always loved to do this, and he'd get on your nerves, and little brother
Shaq had one of those too. Anyway,
the me, you can do that one.
I will.
But yeah, I thought that whenever first of all, I saw the video thumbnail on YouTube of Michael Jordan at Kobe's funeral, which was at the Staples Center on Monday.
Maybe might have been I can't remember now.
It was this week, I feel like. But anyway, and it looked like somebody had put as the thumbnail of this video the crying Jordan meme. And I was like, well, that seems kind of disrespectful. But then I'm watching the video and I'm like, no, he's
this
literally
is
doing his
new.
own meme.
Yeah.
And he goes, I told my wife I didn't want to do this speech because
I don't want to be a meme for the next 3 or 4 years.
and everybody lost it. I mean,
Yeah.
it was definitely a lighthearted moment, but he was crying a good portion of the speech.
For
I
sure.
was as well.
Yeah.
I tried to watch Vanessa and just had to turn it off because at one point I was like, why am I doing this to myself?
Right.
Like, I couldn't believe, first of all, Jimmy Kimmel is hosting. I'm like, what is this, a roast? You
Right.
know, like
Yeah.
the Friars Club funeral of Kobe Bryant. Like,
Yeah.
what was, he seemed like sentimental and choked up at different points. I don't know how much you watched.
I just watched snippets. Like I didn't watch live, and I didn't watch the thing in its entirety. I'm sure he was just there to kind of like move people along. I don't know if he was really there as like a roast master or anything, but then again, I didn't watch the entire thing, so I didn't really even see any of his bits at all, if he had any.
Okay. Well, did you want to talk about
The Shaq one?
Shaq's piece, or do you think that's
Yeah.
too risque?
I mean, I'll
Edit.
yeah, I'll edit. So Shaq, he was saying the first time that he really considered Kobe, or the first time he ever started respecting Kobe, was when Shaq came up to him and said, "Hey man, there's no I in team." And Kobe goes, "Yeah, but there's an M-E in that mother." Classic. And then he just goes on to just talk about how that's his brother, like, he just viewed him like as a sibling, and how Kobe was, Michael Jordan also talked about that, right? And it was Michael Jordan that talks about how Kobe would message him like at 3 a.m, with, well, what do you think about this move, or how do I improve on this? So that was actually really cool, like just listening to all those stories.
Yeah, I don't think I was aware of like what a tight relationship they ended up having. It's great to see that. I know that Shaq and Kobe were at odds at different points in their career, and after Shaq hung up the basketball shoes, like
the
they're
jersey.
They're not cleats, I guess. Like real struggle bus here.
Yeah.
But I feel like they reconciled late in Kobe's life.
Right.
I feel like it was on a path to that. I don't think there was ever a decisive moment where they, squashed something trivial. I feel like they just acclimated back to being more okay with being in the same place and liking each other. And
yeah,
what's your take on that?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Just yeah, you could definitely tell that there was a lot of love that Shaq had for Kobe, just from his speech. I also liked how Michael Jordan was saying, typically us as fans, we like to pit them against each other whenever we talk about who's the greatest of all time and everything, and just how Jordan, like, he just wanted to see Kobe win. It wasn't about like who's the best or anything. That they could put that aside and just he could help mentor him. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I think everything gets dressed up in death for sure. I know that it's always rosy in hindsight, but I've also heard that if you beat Michael Jordan in pool, he would absolutely hate you for 2 weeks and not speak to you until he had beaten you at pool. Like, he was such a competitor.
Yeah.
I feel like at one point he was playing 54 or 72 holes of golf a day. And sometimes he and Barkley and some of those guys were going upwards of 5-6 digits a hole in gambling. Like, we're talking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands per round type deal.
That's insane.
Yeah. And if you've ever seen Barkley swing, it's extra insane.
Yeah. Well, keeping it in sports, I don't know if you saw any of the Fury versus Wilder fight.
I didn't see any of it.
So this is the second time that they've met up. So it's Fury versus Wilder 2, because the first fight resulted in a draw. Now, these two fighters are both, or before this fight, they were both undefeated, and then they had one draw, and that was against each other. And so they came back to see who could win, and it resulted in somebody's first loss, and somebody remained undefeated. And so Fury ends up winning. I think in the 7th round, maybe in the 5th or 6th round, he punches Wilder in the ear, and his ear starts bleeding, and it really throws off his balance, and he's really unable to recover. He's kind of getting his butt beat like the entire the entire match. I don't think he won a single round, to be honest. Maybe the second round, like it was close, but he was definitely out of his league this fight. Like I don't know what he had been doing to be training for this rematch, but he was clearly unprepared. And then he kind of blamed his loss on the outfit that he came out wearing during his intro.
Okay. You want to elaborate on that?
Sure. So Fury...
Is he the one that kept his shirt on during the weigh-in?
Maybe so. I can't remember.
I heard that
weigh-in.
one of the fighters kept their shirt on during the weigh-in, and that the only time that you do that is when you don't look good or you're fat. And so that's what they were saying. And so it makes me think that you're talking about the same person with the lack of preparation. Maybe it was the same person that kept their shirt on.
Maybe. I don't know. He looked pretty fit, so I don't know if it was that. He didn't weigh enough. Like he didn't have enough strength behind those punches.
Okay. But what about the outfit?
Yeah. So let me first start
the intro to the fight.
Yeah. So they both, come out of the tunnel, and it's their hype music. They're trying to get the crowd hype.
I thought they usually just wore like a robe of sorts.
Well, yeah, that kind of used to be the thing, but now it's like, especially whenever it's a big fight like this, like these, if you watch any of the any boxing, like this was one of the bigger marquees. Like this was a pretty big fight. And so they didn't come out in their robes. Fury came out on this throne, and he had this one song playing. It was Patsy Cline's Crazy. And so it's just this like nice, like sweet kind of little song. You typically think they'd come out with this hype music, and he plays Patsy Cline, and he's just on this throne, and it's on wheels, but it looks like he's being carried. And so he comes onto the ring, but then Wilder comes out in like this Black Panther Power Rangers looking suit, and he's like decked from head to toe, and it's like this blackish, purplish, graphite, like sparkly type of costume, and apparently it weighed a ton. And after the match, Wilder's like, I'm not going to make any excuses, but the outfit that I was wearing, it like it hurt my legs, and he was just, I don't know. He said he wasn't trying to find any excuses, but he clearly had some.
He's like, no excuses, but I'm not comfy.
Dude. And then, at the end of the fight, who was, Wilder Fury, after he wins, he begins singing, Don McLean's, American Pie. And he sings like the first and second verse, like, and there's not music playing behind him or anything. He gets the crowd. Apparently he's done this in previous fights. But dude, after getting beat and after getting a TK, like if you TKO me and then sing American Pie, like
it's demoralizing.
Yeah. Like,
wow.
Not about it.
Yeah. I don't watch all the, I'd like to start watching more fights. I was definitely aware that it was, what is it? Fury Wilder, part 2. I was aware that it was upcoming. I even watch like Fight Companion podcasts and stuff where they barely talk about the fights, and usually it's more MMA based, but I definitely knew that this was the cream of the crop when it came to boxing, but I don't go to the pay-per-view and stuff like that.
Right.
Did you watch it at Alex? Or?
Yeah, I went over to Alex, and Gerald came over, so we split the fight again like we did with McGregor, and
okay,
just helps a bit.
Yeah, no. I think it's contingent on who are the tightest guy friends that you hang out with on the weekend when that kind of stuff happens.
Right. But great segue for bringing them up. Let's talk about Gerald for a little bit.
Gerald.
Yeah. So before the fight,
Mr. No Bio.
I had met up with, nice little Twitter bio.
I took a screenshot of, when he had the middle finger for C. Gibbons. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and memorialize this moment.
Yeah, save that one.
I screen grabbed your booty, Gerald, Mr. G.
That's right.
So I saw a tweet. What happened?
We met up before the fight in Fort Worth because the dude had been craving a rematch since I roasted him on air. And I will say we ended up playing 6 games. We both won 3, and so
Just decided to leave in a tie.
yeah,
Look
the
at
fight
you
was about
being
to
the bigger
happen.
man.
The fight was about to happen. And I will say, I think he won like the last 3. Like I won early on, and then he started winning, and I was like, well, let's call it a tie. I'm out of here.
So what you're saying is you rematched Gerald in ping
Oh.
pong and he didn't win.
I mean, he won 3 times, but I will say the first game he lost 21-3. So
Yeah, but he heats up, doesn't he?
yeah,
Yeah.
he heats up. I
I
tire
quit
out.
caring after I beat somebody like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, yeah, you won one. Here you go.
Yeah, you got it, buddy.
Here you go.
Hey, so good job, little
Because I'm a
Gerald.
Christian.
One of God's boys.
Yeah. So we walk out of that ping pong room with Jesus in our hearts.
That's right.
I rewatched that special after we talked about that.
Theo Vaughn, baby.
So funny.
Yeah.
So cool. Good for him. Way
Yeah.
to tie.
Right.
Everybody loves a tying loser. I'm playing. I love
Perfect.
Gerald.
Hey,
Gerald-
that can go in his bio.
Gerald, I always had a huge man crush on Gerald.
Aw.
You know, he was one of my favorite peeps back in college, and just funny dude.
Yeah. Good looking man.
Good peeps. Yeah. He was historically our best looking friend,
Yeah.
especially in terms of like muscle mass that you don't have to work for
No doubt.
ever at all. Just washboard abs, and he didn't take his boots off long enough to hit the gym. You know what I mean? Like, how does that happen?
I don't know. Genetics.
So, cool.
Yeah.
Was that it about Gerald?
Yeah, that's it about Gerald. Enough about him.
I was hoping there was even more juicy stuff.
Nah.
So how is he enjoying being on days now?
Dude, he's loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, the difference is night and day.
Ba-dum-bum.
Yeah, no.
Our dads don't need to do a podcast. We've got dad jokes for everyone.
Yeah. Clean that up.
Yeah. Clean that up.
Oh. Yeah. Nothing more on Gerald. Moving on. What do you got?
Oh, wow. Way to just throw it back on me. All right, let's go back to
the debates, because we were kind of talking about that.
Yeah, did you catch any of last night? It sounds like you saw some highlights at least.
So I tuned in.
I feel like you could watch blooper reels on YouTube and it could just be Joe Biden. So last night's debate, he announced that gun violence was appalling and that 150 million Americans had been killed in the last 13 years by guns. And I was just like, that can't be right.
Yeah,
I was like, that's like half of us.
Can I see the charts?
And nobody checked him on that last night.
Yeah.
I'm sure that we were all like, that shows how out of touch he is, and that he can just say stuff and we're like, oh, Joe, when are you going to drop out of this race?
Crazy guy. No, I tuned in to see Bernie Sanders yelling. So I was like, all right, I see it. I got it.
He's winning, dude.
Yeah,
he is the front runner.
Yeah.
Although I didn't want to like Bloomberg, but I like Bloomberg,
Hey, did you see him have a little slip of the tongue? Or, he accidentally said that he bought seats on the Senate?
Yeah, I mean, you can say that he accidentally did. In his mind, that's what he was thinking,
Yeah.
It's refreshing to see some money in the Democratic Party, baby. I enjoy it. I loved it in the last debate when he goes, this ridiculous conversation is what gets Donald Trump reelected. And he's been very unapologetic and short of speech on a lot of things that they've thrown at him, but also very dismissive of...
Is it Warren that's been attacking him?
Man, she has been... Oh, man. I thought about this last night. I just thought, it's crazy how much I hate this woman. Like, she's so annoying. Like, who wants to listen to that? I'm sorry. I'm really letting my feelings be known here, but
no, that's fine.
I hated her when she was just a senator, She's annoying. She's like that, overreaching mom in the group that's like, now don't do that, and make sure Sally gets to play too, and just shut up, go away.
You don't think there's a necessity for those type of moms?
No, we'd be fine without her kids. No, I'm playing. No, it's interesting because I feel like you make an issue of something when you acknowledge it, when you address it, and it shows that she's felt intimidated by the rise of Bloomberg in the process, and the fact that he's been able to elevate his position in the polls due to his exorbitant media buys, where he's been promoting himself. Like, he hasn't technically been on the ballot for any of the states until Super Tuesday. So, he didn't even compete in Iowa or New Hampshire, for instance.
Okay.
So he's banking on having delegates that rack up on Super Tuesday that are in excess of any of the people who were on the ballot in Iowa and New Hampshire. But she has just made it a point to differentiate herself from Bernie last night and say why she thinks that she would be a better president.
Yeah.
And then she continually goes after Bloomberg for like 30 and 40-year-old NDAs that he has with women that I haven't pieced it all together. I haven't gone in search of it, honestly, but it sounds like maybe he made some comments and or jokes back in the day that necessitated some sort of NDA or something to that effect.
Right.
And she's like trying to tell him and Bloomberg to essentially release everyone from their NDAs ever. And I'm like, okay, someone's never done business.
Right.
I mean, I have NDAs, and I'm not nearly successful enough to be accused of a Me Too, nor has my conduct ever necessitated a Me Too.
More importantly.
But let's be honest too, even if I had harassed somebody, I'm just a poor harasser,
Yeah, I can't get much out of you.
So anyway, yeah, I'm like, I'll sign it, but you're not getting anything. Anyway, so she just keeps dragging this stuff out, and it's like, oh, so you do feel threatened by Bloomberg because, you're not punching down, you're only punching up typically.
Yeah.
In this kind of situation. So, but his dismissive nature over it has been comical. It's been refreshing. I'm not sure how much of the mainstream or moderate Democrats he'll capture. He and Tom Steyer have been more. Tom Steyer, and Amy Klobuchar have all been rather candid that their goal is to win the mainstream Democratic Party, the moderate Democrats, and also moderate suburban Republicans.
Okay.
So they want to remain, they're going to honor the Second Amendment. They believe in capitalism, but conscious capitalism.
Yeah. So they're like right leftists.
They're honestly like old Republicans, except that I guess that things like abortion have become a real, like, that's a portion of the Republican agenda that I can't get behind personally. It's why I'm not really a Republican. I felt like I was because I was more fiscally conservative, if you will.
Okay.
Just in that, is it conservative to want a balanced budget, which I know Trump hasn't accomplished at all. He's contributed to that problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm more fiscally conservative, but socially I'm extremely liberal. I'm for the legalization or at least decriminalization of most drugs, like even hard drugs. I'm for the legalization of sex workers in this country. I think that when you take away a black market, you take away a lot of the elements of danger and the murder and the violence. And, why not tax it, regulate it, have studies on these different, like, sell marijuana above board and tax it and regulate it and make it an industry where people can make a living.
Right.
For sex workers, the biggest reason why I support legalizing sex work is because who are you to tell anybody what they can do, first of all? Second of all, when you legalize it, you end forced prostitution. Because it's just a choice at that point, and it's a regulated thing. So the more areas, whenever you outlaw or make restrictions to abortion, all you're doing is creating a vacuum where back alley abortions begin to happen.
Right.
And it's just not a positive thing. It's one of the reasons why, at best I would be a very far left leaning Republican. I'm really more of an independent Democrat more than anything, but I just can't get behind some of the woke social justice warrior speech and vernacular. I prefer my news served to me straight down the middle in kind of an a-hole kind of way. So that's why in certain ways I do like Trump for those reasons, like
Okay.
I know what he is.
Yeah.
and I know his strengths and his weaknesses, and that's it. Uh, I don't support all the things that he supported,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that makes sense.
but it's hard. I mean, I would probably, I felt last night like Bloomberg and Amy Klobuchar were winking at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt like they connected after the debate. I felt like they reiterated certain points and made an effort to not smear one another last night.
Okay.
And I just felt this inkling of like, oh, is that
they could maybe run together?
is that the ticket there? Like, is that president, vice president?
Okay.
I don't know why. I don't even think this is sexist. This isn't my preference, but obviously Bloomberg would be on the top of that ticket, and she would be the Veep.
Okay.
She would be providing the Washington experience, the female portion of the ticket,
Yeah.
The more mainstream Democrat, because apparently he hasn't been a Democrat for very long.
Right.
And because he's an outside businessman, he's basically running as Donald Trump light, you know? Like,
Yeah, I can see that.
he was talking about policies last night that he was like majorly in support of. Like, they talked about criminal justice reform, as well as some trade agreements and all of these positive things that they were showing off and how they would build on that. And those were Trump policies enacted in the Trump administration. So it was kind of like, okay, I'm seeing this totally different vein right now where it's like you can go far left with Bernie and Elizabeth, or you can remain much more, middle of the road, which is my preference. Biden's out, Tom Steyer's out. So that really only leaves Klobuchar and Bloomberg. Yeah. And I think it'd be fascinating if either of them took Trump on.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd be okay with Bloomberg being president. And I would love it if Amy was, but she's not going to.
Yeah.
I can't see it happening.
No.
It's interesting, though. I was watching a breakdown of some of the early vote in, I guess it was New Hampshire, and they were showing how if you're under 35, for instance, Bernie's your guy. If you're under 45, Bernie's your guy.
Right.
The minute you go up to the 40s, 50s, 60s, and up, suddenly Bernie is tracking just like all the other candidates or worse. Okay. Like he'll get 52% of the vote up until the age of 45, and then he'll start to get 12.
Significantly drops.
Yes.
Okay.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about South Carolina is going to be, it's so I'm not even comfortable with the way that they kind of position this, in that they're like, now we get to the base of the party. Like, I feel like talking pundits and data research, like we talk about black people and white people and we talk about everybody but Asians. Nobody ever talks about Asians.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
Like, whites are the bad people, and then black and brown people. So it's always the representative groups are African Americans, Native Americans, and Latino Americans.
Right.
Nobody ever discusses anything to do with Asians.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
I don't know. They don't care.
Okay.
I haven't done enough research, but maybe they look at who's voting and they don't feel like that's a significant demographic.
I don't know. I hadn't even thought of that. I hadn't thought about, like, are Asians not voting? Or
yeah.
Technically, the funny part is that the biggest transgressors of illegal immigration are Asians.
Okay.
They fly over and they overstay visas, like more so than any Hispanic is running across the border.
Yeah.
That's the funny part. You
That's
also, when you talk about assimilation, Hispanic Americans probably assimilate in greater frequency than even do Asian Americans in certain pockets, because if you've been to a major cities like Chinatown or Koreatown, I mean, you can tell that there are people there that have never spoken a word of English.
Right.
They've never had their Asian dollar leave their Asian neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm saying.
You're laughing. That keeping dollars within your particular group is a big socioeconomic factor that has largely disadvantaged black people. You saw the Kamal Bell. You saw his documentary.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so back to kind of what I was saying is, maybe since they are in those pockets, they're just in their own little world here. But I don't know. I would have to look up and kind of see their voting history.
I'm gonna have to talk to some Asians.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a couple students.
So
it's like, so your parents vote?
Oh man. Okay.
Red or blue? Come on.
You want to walk delicately away from this little topic before we get in trouble, before we get canceled. Why did we get on? Oh, race. We're talking about South Carolina. This is the largest percentage of voting population in a state that has been African American thus far.
Yeah.
And Biden is their boy in that regard.
Yeah.
He's slipped, but I mean, last night on the debate, he said, "I will win South Carolina."
I saw him.
I'm like, all right, Grandpa, whatever.
Whatever you say, man.
The matter, in fact, is I'm going to win.
No.
He's like, I don't know why I'm such a gentleman and just cutting myself off whenever you tell me to. None of these other people are.
Right. Yeah, that was one of his main complaints, is that the moderators kept cutting him off.
It's like when Peepaw, wants to be in the big chair after lunch. Like he's a poor old man. Nothing of what he says makes any sense.
Yeah, but we still look at him, and that's our people.
Yeah, Grandpa Joe, he sniffs your hair every year.
My goodness,
he's a good man. He's a really good man.
He grabs you by the shoulder, by the cheek. Says, "Job well done."
I was in Somalia once, and I saw a man do a job just like you just did. All right, now, booty smack and get out of here. So, who are you going to vote for, Brad?
I don't know yet. Let's wait till it narrows down a little bit more.
Do you vote?
Yeah.
Okay. How have you voted historically? What elections have you voted in?
The past 2.
So 12 and 16?
Yeah.
Me too.
Nice.
Are we about the same age or something? Have you ever voted in a midterm?
No.
I did for the first time in 2018.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe this is my year.
What, are you going to win the lottery or something? Like, you're voting for a candidate.
No, I know.
Maybe it's your year for what? You're talking about 2022, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay. You're like, I can't wait to react to the vote I cast next year.
Yeah.
No, it's this year. We vote in November of this year.
Yeah.
Holy crap, man. Okay.
That's what I wasn't off, right?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You're confusing me. I just found out ketchup and mustard. You got any mustards? Anyway,
maybe. Let's save them.
I just wanted to articulate that point that the race has been the race up until this point, and I just see these pundits, including black pundits, go on and say, I kind of hate to say it this way, but we're finally getting to the meat of the party, and we'll see what they think.
Right.
Because you can't win the Democratic nomination without the black vote.
Right.
So.
Yeah, especially, I feel like this is a huge election, because of what Donald Trump has kind of stirred up. There's going to be more African Americans in the voting booth than ever.
Yeah, and that may not be a good thing for Democrats.
Right.
I mean, a lot of these candidates, including Trump, have made outreach to this community.
Yeah.
Mayor Pete's Instagram, went from, he looks like he's trying out for BET in the last 28
I wonder,
posts.
We'll never know, but I wonder what percentage of Trump's voters are closeted voters,
Oh, I would say a good portion.
And then closeted African American voters.
Well, we know that, what did he get? 3? He got a couple percentage points of the African male population, African American male population.
Yeah.
Van Jones, I think I talked about this in a previous podcast, that he's making a play for that voter demographic in larger swaths. So if he takes that to 7 or 10%, I mean, I already think it's over, but it'll for sure be over. But the problem is that, if the stats that are being listed are accurate, I would think that he would get more of the African American vote.
Yeah.
And what pundits at least have always said, and I've heard this from black people as well, that black people very much vote from what'd you actually do for me? What actually happened?
Right.
Less to do with how you rap it or
what
if you're
saying.
Politically correct. They're more interested in, the expediency of their own lives, and they're more distrusting probably of based on the history of African Americans in this country, it would stand to reason that they would be more distrusting of political figures or whoever. So that makes sense to me. Yeah. So from that standpoint, I think that he'll have more voters from that demographic this go round, simply because he claims to have lifted 10 million people off food stamps. All the different demographics have, never experienced this level of home ownership, of, employment, of all the different stats that they list off.
Yeah.
And that's hard to argue with.
True.
And I think that, give a man a fish, feed him for a day. But if you teach him how to fish, as our friend Barrett would say, he won't bother you no more.
Dang, I haven't seen that guy in a long time.
I know, right? Yeah. I forget that you know him.
Yeah, because he went to Southern.
Oh, and you went to Southern.
Yeah.
Little Debbie. I stumbled across their Twitter the other day, and it was funny to see like a CPG brand try to do veggie Twitter stuff as Adventists.
Interesting.
I forget what a huge brand that is and that they're Adventist owned.
Yeah.
And I also think, like, how counterintuitive is this to our health code mission?
Oh, for sure.
When we're like stuffing our face full of Little Debbie's, because I love oatmeal cream pies.
Oh yeah, really?
Yes,
those are the worst ones.
Historically, I grew up on oatmeal cream pies.
The Swiss cake rolls.
Mm.
Yeah, that's where it's at. Anyway, oh, do you?
Gut check. Brad just punches me in the stomach. He's like, "Oh."
Well, I just thought of a thing. You own any stocks?
What? You gonna make me swear, boy? What?
The stock market, man. The Dow Jones.
Yeah, no, I don't. I have like a Roth IRA.
Okay.
I don't know what it owns, but no, I don't play the stock market.
Okay.
I have stock in startups.
Yeah. Right.
Multiple stock ownership, equity ownership stakes in startups, but I don't own any Tesla or.
Okay.
Didn't it tank because of the
coronavirus?
I heard somebody say the other day, they're like, "This is just the media trying to hype us up. Next month it'll be the Modelo virus."
That's funny. I like that.
Do you buy it? You think people are dying?
Sure, man. Every day.
I'm like, do you think we'll get to work from home soon?
Dude, if I could just, if I could make the same paycheck just giving my lectures online, I'll do it.
I've seen these Americans that have been trapped on like Asian cruise ships, and then they've been sequestered in like their little cabin, their interior cabin, for like 14 days, and then they're taken into like a safe zone, and then they're quarantined again.
Right.
And I saw this one girl just like crying, like, they said they were going to let us out of here a week ago. Now we got to go do this. And she literally said, I've lost a month of my life. And I just thought about it. I'm like, I haven't missed a beat in a month. Like I'm steady scaling up my career, my life, like doing all these different things, trying to optimize, read more, be healthier, make good choices, blah, blah, blah. And this woman is literally like, through no fault of her own, she's lost a month of her life in her mind. And there is no playbook. We don't all arrive at the same information or the same point in life at the same time. And that just is crazy to me.
We don't all get quarantined for the same diseases.
We all have different experiences. But I also just think like it's a sexy name. The first couple of weeks of this, sexy virus going around, I just thought, because I heard people saying, these are the numbers that the Chinese government is reporting, and we can't trust them. They're like, it's like add another zero to that figure. And part of me was like, okay, it's a little racist. Like, feels like we know there's more of you. Like you're lying. It felt a little subliminal text racism a little bit, but now it looks like it's everywhere. Yeah. Like if you look at the map with Sanjay Gupta, I'm like, oh wow, we're all gonna die.
Yeah. Dang.
So what do you think? You gonna buy it? Or I hear people saying like the flu kills this many people every year anyway. Like,
yeah, I guess. I don't know what to think. I think it exists. I don't think it's like fake news or anything.
Okay. Do you think we're at risk?
You and me?
Yeah.
Nah.
There's cases in Texas.
Yeah, but we're good.
You think so?
We're one of God's boys.
We'll leave out of here with Jesus in our hearts.
That's right.
And no coronavirus in our veins.
Oh.
He's saving us for the Modelo virus.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, the stock market has been going down.
Do you own stocks? What are you trying to tell me?
But okay, so we got off on a religious whole thing last week, and I didn't even get to go to all of my notes. But one of the things that I was going to bring up is this Tesla competitor called. Hold on, let me look at my notes.
Oh my goodness.
It's from last week.
You're like thinking on my notes.
Rivian. Yeah. And Amazon has already backed them. They're going to be using Ford's manufacturing factories. And so they already have a leg up on Tesla because Tesla has 4 factories, and they just cannot produce the same amount of cars as Rivian will be able to with the backing of Amazon and using the Ford factory facilities.
It's so scary how if Amazon decides to stick their nose into a particular segment, they literally alter stock prices.
Yeah.
They literally alter entire market landscapes with different announcements of new products that they're going to offer or new industry that they're entering. Goodness gracious. Never count Elon out, never count Tesla out.
I'm not, but I think it's good that they have competitors.
It's a new drama for them.
Yeah.
I think that maybe Tesla becomes the brand that's almost sentimental or the original. It's yeah, you have a Rivian, but I have a Tesla.
Yeah, maybe
it's you're plugging in at a Chevy Bolt. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
So it's like the '69 Mustang.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
It's you could go get a Dodge Challenger, but I have a '69 Mustang.
I feel you on that. All right. Yeah, I do think it's cool that there will be a competitor. Yeah, Jeff Bezos, Amazon owner, he's lost about close to $5 billion with the stocks going down, but
not a dent.
Yeah, that's chump change to him, which is so disheartening to me.
I love it when they always do the analogies where they're like, Mike Bloomberg spending this amount of money is the equivalent of you spending this amount of money.
Yeah.
They said that his $500 million ad buy was the equivalent of me spending $200.
I thought it was gonna be you buying chicken ramen.
Yeah. No. It's amazing how much money he spread out.
Yeah.
You were talking about the gaffe where he talked about buying Democrat seats, but he funded in retort to one of Elizabeth Warren's attacks about who he funded in a recent race. He said, dude, that big swath of Democrats that were elected in 2018, he's I spent $50 million getting those people elected. So it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's never been more blatant what money can do for you in this world, in this country, in this political process more than anything. It used to be more we don't want to muddy the waters by actually entering the race. We're flawed business people. People that are a Bloomberg or a Trump, they're crazy in certain ways. To be that prolific and successful, there's an element of crazy, there's an element of inappropriate. There's an archetype for this,
Right.
And so it annoys me whenever there's all these purity tests on the stage by people who have never created a job in their life.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of hearing about Elizabeth Warren's story where she's like, I wasn't invited back to teach school because I was pregnant at 21. And I'm like, gross. Just go. Well, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But, I just think about her as an annoying pregnant 21-year-old because I'm thinking you're a child. And then I think about who she is. I think about people that I was raised around that were pregnant at 21 and how annoying they are. And I just think how annoying she is. And I think about all those people together.
Yeah.
And I just think about that. And it makes me irritable.
Cool.
How did we get back on this? Who were you talking about?
I don't know, man.
No, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, there we go.
So he lost $5 billion. It's fine. It'll go back up.
You're right.
I mean, they're talking about, isn't the market taking because of coronavirus?
Yes.
That's crazy, man.
That's what I was saying.
Well, Apple apparently isn't able to make a revenue forecast or whatever, or an earnings forecast for Q1 or whatever their next quarter is.
They're down right now.
Everybody's down, but they're not able to do it because their production schedules have been messed with in China. That
makes sense.
So we're talking about actual backlogs of products that, because everything is made in China,
right?
So that part is kind of Well, if Apple is claiming that they're having problems with fulfillment,
It's an issue.
like we're talking about Apple having problems making product.
Steve Jobs would never.
Yeah. He'd be like, everybody just put your turtleneck over your face and get back to work.
Oh, that's good.
Man, I've had 2 or 3 good ones today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on fire, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Got anything else?
I mean, sure.
You want to get into it?
Oh, I thought you...
I don't know why you tease everything. You're like, let's just wait until everyone hates us. Let's just hate until the French fries hate us, and then we'll hit them with this.
That's right. Shout out to my... Maybe yours are the French fries and my fans are the tater tots.
So there's a lot of French fries and very few tater tots.
That's all right. Everybody loves it whenever you get a tater tot in your fries, though. Nobody likes it whenever you get fries in your tater tots.
Yeah, but nobody orders tots over fries either. So, sorry.
Yeah.
Next week, the weekly catch-up will be with Brad solo, and we'll see how many listens he gets. Let's have a race. We should A/B test it.
All right.
No, we're talking about having... Again, we're talking about having guests on, new program formats, different pre-structured conversations, so to speak. Like, just trying to try new things. Like, I very much pride ourselves on the ability to just rant on this thing and kind of go in cold. I know that was a concern for us 20 episodes ago, but now that we're on our, what would they call this? What's our medal, Brad, for this anniversary?
The Venti medal.
The Venti medal. Okay, cool. Now that we've gotten that under our belts, like, I do want to grow the audience, expand what we talk about, the reach that we have, the really more than anything, like, sometimes I think about serious people listening to this and I'm like, what do I want this to represent? You know, what do I want you to be able to glean from this other than just an hour of entertainment?
Yeah.
Or like, Carson's lost his salvation. Here's why, you know? Although, shout out Heston. He always cracks up during my...
Yeah.
When I called Lucifer ludicrous, I think he lost it.
That's good. Oh, man. Yeah.
So, yeah.
As far as what we want people to get out of this, I mean, we give them the news with a fresh perspective, man.
Okay.
And then we let them know just what 2 good old boys are up to.
2 good old boys. Right here.
That's right.
We're your good old boys.
Yeah. You know, you don't want to listen to the bad old boys.
I think some people do. I think I want to be the bad old boys, Brad.
Dang, we could be the bad boys of podcasting.
Oh, wow. I'm pretty sure that title's been taken like 1,000 times already. We're the bad boys of podcasting, you French fries.
And where's my tater tot?
Ooh.
Oh. We're going to have to workshop that.
No, I think we just call them weeklies.
All right.
Or mom and dad. I don't know. I think it's just our moms and dads listening on 30 different devices every week, you know?
Right? Yeah. Yeah, Dad, if you could start listening on YouTube.
Yeah. YouTube could use some help. Yeah. Although we got a comment this week and it was like, I love your channel, like, great job, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what do you want? Like, what are you trying to sell me?
Yeah, no, we're not going to listen to your song.
Yeah. Oh, was it a song post?
No, I was just...
So I experimented this week. We've talked a little bit about social promotion and how to encapsulate different snippets of the show. Why are you laughing at me right now?
Because I'm thinking of what I'm going to say next.
Okay. Brad's like, I thought. Don't forget it.
Gotta hold on.
It's a must heard. Right. What was I saying? Crap.
I don't know, you jerk.
Get a taste of my own medicine. All right. What were you going to say? You butt.
I was just going to ask you if there were any other movies that caused you nightmares. Seeing as how that led down some random rabbit hole last week.
Yeah, I'm not going to lose my salvation this week, Brad. Any other movie? You know, I realized how rude it was that I didn't ask you.
You didn't even ask
thing.
me.
because I was just like, so Jesus is crazy, right? Let's talk about it.
Just completely hijack that.
Well, I think
you
you
want
were
me to have all the life answers.
You were
and
so shocked by me saying that.
I wasn't shocked. I was just like,
you were.
I'm like, I can't save you right now.
I know. I asked for. I'm like, show me the book, show me the way, and you were like, let me Google it.
I'm like, you want me to Google something that
You're like,
may or may not
obscure prophet that wrote a book about 38 of the books in.
Oh,
what was the movie that caused you nightmares?
Rockadoodle.
Rockadoodle. What is that?
It's about this rooster whose voice is taken away by this mean old owl named Santa Clare. And he has this monocle that he wears and this like Dracula type coat.
Is this an animated film?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. Scared the crap out of me.
Bummed
I thought
you
it was
out?
real. I thought it was real. I thought the owl was real. I had a nightmare and it seemed so vivid that for a little while I thought it was real.
Were you mute in the nightmare?
I don't know.
You were like,
no, I wasn't mute.
I can't say who.
Yeah. It was scary stuff, man.
Oh, that's pretty scary, bro.
Yeah, but it's whatever, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Animated movies that freaked me out as a child.
It doesn't even have to be animated.
I know, but I'm trying to see if I can create a common ground with you.
Okay.
And I'm drawing a blank.
That's fair.
No, I was scared by some animated movies. Yeah, I can't think of one, but
that's all right.
If I do, I'll let you know.
Yeah. We don't need to force it.
I remember being very disturbed by one of the Rite to Passage movies that, if you're around our age, came out, was everyone and their mother saw Remember the Titans with Denzel Washington.
Yeah, just right before winter break, we had like a half day, and I showed that movie to my students.
The movie where the racism happens and they beat up the black guy in the bathroom, and that was very disturbing to me.
Yeah.
I know that was just like a rated PG movie and overall stands for very good values and stuff, but
right, but still,
that part very much was not cool.
Yeah.
It upset me a lot. Yeah. But I always had, I don't know if we were reading more historically accurate books back then or if it hadn't been watered down, but all the stuff with like, I read a lot of American like historical novels where they would insert a fictional character in the real life events. And often when it came to different things like slavery and segregation, lynchings, things like that, it was always very disturbing to me. Yeah. I'll never forget my dad picking up a book at my grandparents' house. We were waiting on them one day. I was a child, and he read the first chapter, and this white girl in the 1800s had popped up pregnant, and they said, "Did you step out of line, or did one of these I can't even use the words that they used. Did one of these folks attack you?" And she lied and said that this young black gentleman had attacked her, and they just hung him. And it talked about it in extreme detail, and it was
that a real story? Because that sounds like Emmett Till.
Well, it wasn't about Emmett Till per se, but you'd be mistaken if you thought that one black man was hung because of a perceived interaction with a white woman.
Yeah.
And that stuff is just incredibly disturbing. Like, especially as a child, I was so just horrified by this, especially when it was like a mob of men on somebody that was helpless, and especially somebody falsely accused, and it was just really terrible. And those were maybe not commonplace, but semi-mainstream until, the 1910s, 20s.
Yeah.
Maybe even beyond. Like, it's not been that long.
So I have a must-heard. Today, the House of Representatives overwhelmingly passes the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, voting 410-4. The bill makes lynching a hate crime under federal law, the first time in U.S. history. So that's crazy that we got on this topic. But
yeah, quickly Google the 4 Confederate soldiers who voted no on making that a hate crime.
Yeah,
I'm serious. I want to know. Probably Steve King, maybe.
Yeah,
like that's
That's crazy that there were even
little
4.
overdue. 2020 news, folks. Lynching
Yeah.
is wrong, and it's a hate crime. Just FYI,
That's
as of
sad.
today,
So sad.
if you lynched someone yesterday, it wouldn't have been a hate crime. How disgusting is that?
Yeah.
Is that weird to you a little bit?
Grotesque.
Okay. Like, what in the world?
Yeah.
Why are we all on Juicy Smouillet's case of it being a hate crime, but it wasn't? What's technically crazy is that they could have used that noose on him for real back then. He could have actually been attacked, and I guess it wouldn't have fallen under this new statute of it being a hate crime.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would have been inferred that way, but technically it's because of, you remember the Dave Chappelle bit where he gets hit with the snowball, but they called him the N-word while they did it, and he was so excited about that because he's like, now it's a hate crime and I can report it. And so he actually went to the police station and like had the little boys come down and here's why what you did was serious. And he didn't end up pressing charges, but you know, it was funny because he's talking about how he got snowballed in his neighborhood and some white neighbors saw it and they were horrified.
Wow.
And he was with another black person. I can't remember who it was. But the minute the boys threw the snowball and called him the N-word, they both looked at each other and smiled. And all the white people were like horrified. Like, can we help you? That was just terrible.
Yeah.
And he was like, we're good. We
Yeah.
got this. Like, so
yeah.
Anyway, who are the
so the members who voted against were Independent Republican Justin Amish from Michigan, Representative Louis Gohmert from Texas, Thomas Massey, Kentucky, and Ted Yoho, Florida.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to see their reasoning for not voting for the bill. Emmett Till was obviously an extraordinary case. There's been many books and documentaries and retellings of that story, and represents a really unfortunate. And it's always a continuum, I guess. I mean, some people think that this is an unfortunate time for certain minorities.
Yeah.
It's like, even amid all the injustice, we talk about these dark times in our history, and I guess a lot of people do think that it's a dark time in our history right now because of Trump.
Yeah.
Banter ensues.
Well, I don't like. It's just a heavy topic, and obviously, like, I don't want to sit here and be like, yeah, look at all the progress we made, because there's still a long way to go. I mean, so on one hand, it's like, yeah, look how far we've come, but there's still clearly racial injustice in our country, and unfortunately, we do have a long way to go. That's why, like Donald Trump, he's just not somebody that I can vote for, because I feel like even if he doesn't outright say it, like, he incites racial tension and discrimination. Like, I know he's done good for businesses, and you really can't argue that. But for me personally, like, he does all he would have to. It's really not hard to denounce racism, and I feel like he has done a piss poor job at it. And that's not, that's like, I have, black friends, and I have Hispanic friends, and friends that I've seen hurting, that have been victims of some type of racism, whether it's people shouting terrible names at them, or just racial profiling and different things like that. And so that's really hard for me to get on. Like, even if you are a candidate who's done something good, for you to incite hate like that and just bring that out of people, that just would weigh heavy on my conscience to support.
I can respect that.
Yeah,
that's well put. You can't really argue with that. I hate that. I hate that that's the perception, the inference, and the message,
Right.
Because it's unnecessary. But it'll be interesting to see what happens, man.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not really sure, but congrats to, I guess it was the House, for voting for something positive.
Definitely.
Way to do your job for once.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of senators campaigning to be president. I guess Mayor Pete either stepped down or his term as mayor ended, because he's no longer the mayor of South Bend.
I believe so, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's also some more unfortunate news. Apparently, this afternoon, there was a mass shooting at Molson Coors plant in Milwaukee that has ended in multiple deaths. Um,
At the Coors factory?
Coors campus. So I don't know. This is like literally just happened. So at least 8 shot an incident at Molson Coors camp. Molson. Somebody. Well, it says Molson Coors and then Miller Coors.
Molson might be the particular campus
Okay.
because they have obviously like their big brewery sites,
Yeah.
like the one they have in Fort Worth, but then there's corporate and regional, and
Yeah.
that would be interesting if a Coors location was shot up.
It says the dead include the shooter. So.
By his own hand,
Oh,
or
and
police?
apparently President Trump, he opened the coronavirus news conference uh, with that bit of information.
Yeah, it's been elevated to the like he has a press conference on it tonight.
Yeah.
Some sort of address or update. People are saying that we should have a czar and somebody fully dedicated to making sure that our response is, overwhelming to this potential threat of coronavirus. I guess it's just really heated up over the last couple of days.
Yeah. I suppose I'm not super knowledgeable about it, but yeah.
So over the weekend, it was the Puerto Rico Open on the
Okay.
PGA Tour. That was the undercard fight, if you will. That's where the other PGA Tour event was. It was the WGC Mexico Championship.
Okay.
So beautiful Mexico City backdrop. That was the main ticket where everybody was, like all the top players, because
Yep.
it's a world golf event. And so first of all, Puerto Rico Open, Victor Hovland, who is just a cutie pie and a half. I love this kid. He's from Norway originally. He went to Oklahoma State, and he's just always smiling. He's probably 21, 22 years old, just young and, doe-eyed, like little smiling cheeks. Like he's just the cutest kid you've ever seen. Big old man crush on this kid. And he's been playing lights out, and he came in with Colin Morikawa and what is his name? The main one, the other Oklahoma State kid. Forgive me, I can't think of his name right now, but he has the crazy swing. I'll figure it out. Anyway, both Colin and the other kid had won PGA Tour events within, mere months of being on tour, and Victor Hovland hadn't. So he was still working at a disadvantage because you have to win an event to get full exemption on the tour for a certain amount of time. And like if you win a PGA Tour, it's Matthew Wolff. That's who it is. Matthew Wolff, Colin Morikawa, and Victor Hovland. Anyway, Victor Hovland took it home, won his first PGA Tour event on Sunday. I think he shot 20 under par for the week. He's fully exempt through all of the next season or two. He's going to play the Masters, the U.S. Open. It's just a huge break in your career. You're solidified on tour. It's difficult when you're the minors for golf. They have different tours, be it over in Asia or Europe. They have the web.com tour. I guess it's the Corn Ferry tour now here in the States. There's all these qualifying tours to try to get to a qualification for a PGA event, in which case you're trying to earn FedEx Cup points. You're trying to win the tournament and place well enough that you are invited to other tournaments, because
you're incentivized to do well so you can move on.
All the top tournaments that we love to watch, like the Masters, that's invitational. Like you have to be a certain ranking, you have to be a certain type of player to qualify for that type of invitation.
Yeah.
And so anyway, the real heartbreak, congrats to Victor Hovland. Love that guy. Oklahoma State, they've produced golfers like Ricky Fowler historically, Matthew Wolff. They're a solid golf program to the extent that, kids are choosing to go to OSU over like Stanford for golf.
Wow.
Which is where Tiger went.
Yeah.
So moving over to the WGC Championship, it was really exciting because coming into the Sunday round, you had like 5 or 7 players stacked within a shot of each other. and they were names like John Rahm, Rory McIlroy. I'm trying to remember. John Rahm, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas was actually the 54-hole leader. Big fan of his. And unfortunately, on Sunday, everybody seemed to crumble when they needed to, except for the infamous a-hole Patrick Reed out of Houston, Texas. Are you familiar with this guy?
I'm not. What makes him an a-hole?
He is just, it's really weird. He won the Masters a season or two ago, and there was this kind of like overnight expose on ESPN that I know Mike Greenberg had shared, and like the media was kind of privy to this. The media has never liked him. They thought that he was just a butt and hard to work with. It seemed as though the players shared that sentiment. And meanwhile, Patrick Reed, who lives in Houston, Texas, his brother-in-law is his caddy. He kind of operates best with a chip on his shoulder. And so he was just thriving off of this. He went and won 7 PGA Tour events, including a Masters, and was really solidifying his own career, but just didn't jive with the other players. He wasn't one of the guys that was like getting invited to the house on the Ryder Cup or whatever, like he was kind of an outcast in certain ways. And then the weekend that he won the Masters, I guess 2 years ago, something like that, they talked about how his family, his immediate family, his real family, gathered around a TV screen to watch him win mere miles away from the Masters grounds in Augusta, Georgia.
Yeah.
So he went to college in Georgia at Augusta.
Okay.
And that's where his family is, but he's estranged from them. He doesn't talk to them at all.
Oh.
So they were not invited like the 1.5 miles to Augusta National to watch him win the Masters.
Wow.
And like this expose interviewed his dad and his mom, and like something happened there. So we were unearthing like, okay, this guy is kind of an a-hole. He's kind of different. He's estranged from his family. Like he's totally adopted his wife's family as his own. Like her brother is his caddy, and his, they work together every single day.
Right. So it would appear that it's maybe more his family than him.
I'm not sure about that.
Well, I mean, just at that glance, but do you have more information?
I don't have a follow-up on why they're estranged per se. I do know that since then, he's grown to be hated in the golf world for other reasons that have to do with his on-the-course actions.
Okay.
So back in December of this last year, they were playing in the Bahamas. They had a PGA Tour event over in the Bahamas. Patrick Reed is in contention. I think it's on Saturday. So they always play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Got it.
So it's 72 holes, and the best cumulative under par score wins. In contention, coming down the stretch, I think it was the back 9 on Saturday, he threw an approach shot into the bunker. So like the sand trap.
Right.
And whenever he got into the bunker, his ball was kind of nestled, and you are not allowed to affect your lie in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
But in lining up for his practice strokes, where he was kind of like cocking the club back as though he was going to shoot the shot, but didn't, he was actually doing that in such a way, like with his club resting on the bunker sand, where he was smoothing the sand back. He was leveling it out.
Wow.
And the camera happened to perfectly catch this. And he played dumb and then ended up having to accept a 2-shot penalty post round. And it was the talk of it is the talk of the golf world today.
Yeah.
Like Brooks Koepka last week was on Sirius XM Golf Podcast, and they asked him, "Did you think it was cheating?" And he goes, "Well, yeah." Like, it's, you can hate him for all these different reasons, but once he started transgressing the rules of golf, seemingly all hell broke loose. So he didn't end up winning that tournament. In fact, he was, I think, 2 shots off the lead at the end, which was ironic. But it took him months to kind of even move past that. And at the President's Cup that they played in Australia, the team competition between America and the rest of the world, essentially, the fans were so pro Europe team that they kept shouting cheater, like during his backswing, like whenever he was playing, whenever he was walking hole to hole, they'd be like, cheater, sand mover, like all these.
You know, you messed up whenever you're getting heckled in golf.
In golf, yes. Yeah. Like that's bad.
Right.
So this butthole coming down the stretch ends up winning the tournament on Sunday. And I was just like, I tweeted out earlier this week. I said I was so excited for any of these guys to win. Like Justin Thomas, love him. John Rahm would have been a great story. Like he had a 61 on Saturday, which was 10 shots under par, including he had one of the most legendary hole-in-ones at one of the par threes. Like it one hopped into the hole. Like,
and this is the same game in which he lost.
Well, the same tournament.
Same tournament. Okay.
Because you shoot, it's 18 holes each day, Thursday through Sunday.
Oh, okay. So
he shot
on
a 61.
Same tournament, but different day.
Same tournament, different day.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So if he'd shot a 61 on Sunday,
I was
coming
about
in,
to say, and still lost. Okay.
Yeah, but he shooting the 61 took him to 14 under, something like that. But I think the 18 under ended up winning it. Oh. So that means that he would have had to come out and shoot at least 4 birdies the last day, and I guess that he didn't get that done.
Got it.
So it really is. That's what I love about golf. It's like you can play great one day and you can play like crap the next day, but there's also, you have to focus on so many different areas of your game. Like just because you drive the ball well, if you can't hit an approach shot that actually hits the green or proximate, or if you can't roll a putt and you 3-putt everything like I do, like I'll be scratch golfer tee to green a lot of rounds, but then I'll just roll 3 putts past the hole, pick it up, and be like, all right, that was a bogey.
Yeah. Putting, I can do. Driving, not so much.
Yeah, I've really worked.
I hear it's all in the hips.
No, I mean, maybe, but it's all in my head.
Got it.
All of golf has always been all in my head, and I finally, in the last couple of years, reached a point of maturity and patience that I could enjoy the process of working on the game and getting better at the various aspects, because I'll go out and play competitive golf. Like I'll put money on it with certain buddies or cousins, and you just have to be on your game in all these different areas. You have to be able to hit a 100-yard approach shot with a wedge as well as that drive, but then you have to be able to putt it.
Yep.
And what I've actually gained a lot of benefit from is not focusing on the hips, not trying to crush it, not trying to outdrive the next guy. I'm trying to ball strike. That's the word that I've always used on the tour.
What does that mean?
Well, they always talk about this guy is an incredible ball striker, or my ball striking was really good today. And I just started thinking about that because I'm like, yeah, like we're all hitting a ball, right? Like it seems to make sense. But when you think about it, so much of your swing when you get out there as a novice or somebody that doesn't play a whole lot, you see the ball and then you have this perception of how you're going to swing the club. And if you've ever played baseball, you're probably going to be a little impaired. You're lifting your front foot off as you're, going through the backswing, all of that good stuff. And what I started to realize was let the club do the work, focus on making the kind of contact with the ball that you want, and all the results will follow. So by employing some of those methods and just having to remind myself, like you have to remind yourself sometimes before a round when you go to the range, it's like, this is how I shoot. This is how I swing with this club.
Yeah.
Because it's different, the way I hit a driver is different than the way I hit a wedge. I can tell that. Let's move on.
No, I feel like.
Anyway, all the shade to Patrick Reed.
Yeah.
I was super bummed because all the different storylines of, the top 5 or 6 guys in contention, I would have been so content and crying on the couch to watch any of them hoist the trophy. Yeah. But the minute he won, I just turned it off because.
Yeah, dishonor on you, dishonor on your family. Well, the family that.
Yeah, I hope your wife's family drops you too. You French fry.
Nah, he's not allowed to listen to ours.
Oh, Patrick Reed, please listen. We'll be sponsored by Patrick Reed.
Nope.
And a-holes everywhere.
This podcast is brought to you by anyone else but that guy.
Who are we brought to you by? What else do you want to talk about?
I don't know, man.
I got a little bit left in the tank. We can,
all right, bring it.
Shout out to my father. He turned 57 years old yesterday.
Dude, my dad's birthday was on the 20th.
Well, the weekly cleanup guys are just need to have a party at the dumpster, huh?
Yeah.
Dean and Bob.
Get your brooms.
Dean and Bob, they sound like a new Rat Pack or something.
Yeah. Well, that's
like,
cool.
What do you say, boys? Let's go clean up after our sons, huh?
What do you say, gal?
So my dad said, what do you say? I'm a turn a year older. He was born in 1963.
My dad's 65.
Wow,
well,
okay.
Born in 65.
Yeah. My mom was 61. My dad was 63. Your dad was 65.
Nice.
So Yeah, he turned 57 yesterday. Big shout out to him. Perfect health. Just,
Yeah.
vibrant young gentleman. Can't wait to ski with him this weekend, but big shout out to him for his birthday. It's pretty crazy when you think about the actual significance of birthdays. And I know as guys, like, we don't really care. Like,
Right.
we're like downplay it. You know, he was like, I personally don't care, Carson. Like, he's like, I'm glad that we're gonna get to ski together. He's like, let's not even do dinner tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay, me too. Sounds good. But yeah, it's like, it is significant.
Yeah.
You're only all of these ages once.
Right.
And we all have 39 summers left.
Are we about to go down this rabbit hole?
Let's talk about death, Brad. No. My dad's not going to die for a long time.
Death.
It is weird, though, to think about, like, I'm going to die of a heart attack. We know. And that could be in 35 years. You know? I could die before he dies.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Bob.
That's your gift.
Whoa, dark.
No, I'm alive.
I thought you meant like that you're gonna die before him. That's his gift.
Yeah. No, I like to mess with my parents that I'm going to die before they do. We're a dark family. I don't know. Maybe I'm the dark person, but you know, I channel a lot of that through humor because, you know, they're all so rosy and saved and saved in the blood of Christ.
That's right. That's right.
So I'm just trying to stay alive and walk out with Jesus in my heart.
Yeah. The resurrection pageant was hopeful to them.
Yeah. No, they like to go to it. They're like, you want to go?
You know, I questioned whether there was a cartoon owl. You questioned.
Yeah, I'm a little deeper fellow, wouldn't you say? You're like, I don't know, the animation is scary, and I'm like, what is eternal life? Why is someone dying? You're just like, what if I can't talk anymore?
What if they steal my voice?
I remember a recurring nightmare, actually, where I was underneath the bed sheet, and Cruella de Vil would always be trying to inch her bony hands underneath it to grab me and carry, like, I would feel that
like
feeling.
like your little Dalmatian.
Yeah, like I was a little spotted fellow. And she was picking me up, and she would run with me, and that's where the dream would, like, speed up and end and climax all at the same time. That sounds a little weird. Okay.
All right, let's keep it PG.
Okay. This was not happening in an age where
we're not talking about any climaxing or.
Okay, let's just drop that one.
Man.
No, Cruella de Vil would
into.
kitty snatch me in the middle of the night and run off with me to the edge of the world. You know, you remember those dreams where, like, you just hit the edge of the world?
Yeah.
Or, like, you fell off and, like, you ever have those dreams where you fall off something and you jerk up straight in bed?
Yeah.
Okay. That was Cruella de Vil.
Got it. And you jerked up once you climaxed? Once the dream climaxed, I mean.
So you're a Christian school teacher, right, Brad?
Yeah.
Why are you the pervert on this one?
I'm just trying to get the facts.
It's just Cruella de Vil. Cruella de Vil. She'll snatch you up.
Yeah, you know the song.
Yeah, she scared the crap out of me, dude.
Yeah.
Glenn Close scared me back in the day.
Yeah.
So, anyway, apparently Cruella de Vil had a much different impact on Brad.
Whoa.
Young Brad was like, take me away.
No, I mean, it
put me in a collar.
Didn't feel one way or another about that.
I'm sure. You're like, I like that fur coat and that red car, miss.
Mm-hmm. As far as villains.
See, I thought villains were sexy. I was a big, what was the one?
Cruella de Vil was like this.
She wasn't sexy.
Yeah, okay.
No, but who was the villain in, was it Aladdin or was it?
Aladdin's Jafar, bro.
No, okay. I mean, Jafar was pretty ripped young man, but who is the villain that I'm thinking about that was sexy?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm trying to think of like the female villains, and I'm thinking of like the big broad from Little Mermaid.
Oh yeah, yeah, she was a real looker. No, do you remember back when you were a kid and you would play the game of like who's your animated girlfriend or who's your animated pick, and mine was always Pocahontas.
Yeah,
for sure. Like, she crushed the competition.
I don't know. Jasmine's pretty fun.
Jasmine was another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought Cinderella was just high maintenance and always lost, you know?
Yeah.
Like
this
find
girl,
another pair of shoes, girl.
Dang, like, we'll hit up Payless as soon as we're out of here.
So dependent on a man.
Yeah.
And then Sleeping Beauty is just like everything that's wrong with America and the world. You know, it's like, why is he kissing her while she's asleep?
No.
I don't think is that on Disney Plus?
Yeah, I think so.
What's the tag? You remember how they have the racist modifiers or snippets to say like some of this content is outdated?
Oh yeah.
What do they have posted for Sleeping Beauty?
I have no idea.
Like the sentiments espoused in this animated film as put out by us are no longer in vogue.
Yeah.
Or mainstream accepted.
Yeah, meaning there needs to be 2 consensual awake.
You know, just the basics.
Yeah. And you know, Snow White is rolling around with a bunch of different dudes. Like,
yeah.
You
just your mind's in the gutter today.
No, I'm just saying that she's hanging out with them. That's all. It's like
got a bunch of little people
like the Bachelorette
around.
out here. Just like, dang, I got to compete against Dopey.
Have you logged any more hours on Disney Plus since it first came out and you've wrapped that Star Wars series or whatever?
Yeah.
What's hot lately?
There's just a bunch of different movies on there that I watch. Like that's where, like, Remember the Titans is on there. That's where I showed my students that movie.
Okay.
Yeah, a bunch of just different classics.
What was going wrong in the day that you needed to do movie time?
Nothing. It was a half day before Christmas break. I'm like, you just took your final. Like, let's just hang out.
You're like, all right, guys, we got a firefighter showing up here in a couple hours to let you know what a great career he's got and everything. So here's Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
In case anybody wants to be a high school coach.
Yeah, the sheriff deputy was like, yeah, you know, it's a hard job. Like, you know, we put our life on the line, and the kids are like, how much do you make? And they're like, 40,000. It's like, it's like, I can make that in the comfort of this chair.
You're like, doors and windows are paying 80.
Exactly. Fist
Number
bump.
3 for the episode. What up? Put me on the leaderboard.
Had to fist bump you on that one.
Welcome back to the Is Brad going to say anything funny this week podcast? Yeah. You going to get on the board or what?
Probably not.
Okay. You're just going to continue to make semi-lewd comments about animated characters that...
Listen, man. I just throw up the alley. You got to oop it.
Okay. Wrong basket, buddy. So, did you see that Bob Iger stepped down yesterday?
Yeah,
today?
From Disney.
Man, I heard something crazy. Like, he's created 12 and a half times the amount of shareholder value, or he did something. So he has some metrics for shareholders and the overall content repository and the ways to access it. That he did some stuff over there.
Wild.
So I guess he's going to remain affiliated through some board memberships and different things like that. But acting CEO and visionary, he's going to take a step away from.
Yeah.
So I don't know who gets. They pick some other white guy.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, he's been there. It's not like they're like, "Hey, you'll do." But he was an existing white guy employee, who's now been elevated.
I don't know. It's not trending on Twitter anymore. So,
oh well. Old news. Who got shot in the last 5 minutes? That's all we need to know about Twitter.
Unfortunately,
who got shot or said something wrong in the last 5 minutes is basically what Twitter trending is.
The answer to that, one of those questions would be Carson Gibbons.
Yeah. Wait, what?
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm trending. You know what's wrong with Trender twinding?
Say that 10 times fast.
Twitter trending.
What's wrong with that?
You know when you log in and you see somebody, like, it'll be like somebody's name, like Joel Osteen or somebody, and it's just about how somebody was anticipating that somebody would say something. Yeah. And then everybody piles on, and that person didn't do diddly squat, and they're trending.
Like nobody fact checks.
Like they almost did that,
right? Or
they were thinking about doing that. Yeah. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's frustrating.
It's
but
like
I always fact check my stuff.
Yeah.
Bob Chapek.
Oh, Bob Iger.
Yeah,
Bob Chapek.
I mean, he may not be white.
I think he's more white than Bob Iger was.
Stop stereotyping.
Okay. I know. That's reverse racism right there.
Yeah. Let's see what this guy looks like.
Bob Chapek is blonde.
Nah,
What is he?
He's white.
What type of white? Oh, he's a bald white guy.
Yeah.
The worst type.
Yeah.
The most stereotyped type of white guy. If you're a bald white guy, middle-aged, you're just like immediately right wing. It's like, how was Rush Limbaugh today, Dad?
Oh,
I don't know. You're gonna have a full head of hair for quite a while, right?
I don't know. I'm probably gonna get the island. Like I feel like my hair's gonna push back.
I don't think Dean's LinkedIn photo is a real photo of him. Is he bald or full head of hair?
He's got some hair on the side. He's kind of bald
Okay.
and thinning out.
So you're gonna be bald.
No, you don't get it from your dad. You get it from like your mom's dad.
Oh, that's true. That's why I'm going to have hair. My dad he's thinning in certain areas, but he's still got full head of hair. His dad was definitely bald.
Yeah.
For pretty much all of the life that I knew him. But I've always prided myself on all the men on my mom's side of the family died with full heads of hair, not a hair anywhere else on their body.
Nice.
So like you could see your reflection in their legs, but they'd have a nice comb over until the day they died. Well, sorry, you'll be fine, maybe.
Yeah, that's what. If not, I'll just grow out the beard and shave my head.
We'll know in about 4 years because you'll be what, 32?
Yeah.
Are you 28?
Yeah.
Okay. You looked at a realtor?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep me updated.
Yeah, I will. I will.
You got any shout outs for this week?
Yeah, of course I do. Let's see. Shout out first of all to Heather Laws and the boys for checking out the podcast, and we do appreciate your input. Shout out to my tater tots.
Yeah, they're. Why don't we just call them all potato heads? Potato-based products.
Yeah. Shout out to Michael Denny. I know he's been listening. He also texted me a couple times this week saying that he's been listening to the Weekly 10 that I have on Spotify, and just sharing some of the songs that he's like. And before I updated this week's, he's like, "Hey man, like give me an hour to get through this one, and then update it." And so I just thought that was cool. And thanks for checking that out. And obviously, thanks for listening to this. Also, want to give out a shout out to Brock. We've talked about him before. His website, Buffin' Abroad. He just posted this video of him and his wife traveling to Japan, and it's awesome video. If you're into traveling and you need like itinerary ideas and just different places to check out, he has several different videos from several different locations. I'm also grateful for him. I'm going to be seeing him in Colorado in a couple weeks. I'll be traveling to Colorado with my girlfriend, and he's going to put us up for a little bit. So,
oh snap!
Yeah,
dope.
So that'll be interesting.
So it'll be flabby in here.
Wait, I don't.
Well, he's buffing abroad, so y'all will just be flabby in there. All right, it didn't work. Never mind.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a little love.
B-Rad, if you had a weight problem, I wouldn't say anything. The fact that I'm saying something means that you're buffing abroad. You're buffing right here.
Okay. Moving on. Yeah, shout out to Brock.
I'm going to Cruella de Vil you after this episode.
You are not going to ball strike me. You're not going to... you stay over there with your little putter, all right?
Oh! Oh! All right, we've settled in. Episode 20. Venti.
I got some cool news that I'll probably drop next week.
Okay. What the heck is that?
Just a teaser.
You can't do that to me.
Just a little teaser.
Will you tell me after?
No.
Okay.
I just want to save. Not that I wouldn't share this information with you, but I want to see your reaction on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's not like I would keep it from you, but I think it'd be a cool moment.
You're just planning when you want to tell me.
Yeah, just
That's really romantic. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I want to give the audience, something to look forward to.
Okay.
It's not a big deal. It's a big deal to me, but it's cool.
Well, if it's a big deal to you, then it'll be a big deal to me and the audience.
That's
all
right.
The French fries.
Yeah.
Okay. Shout out to everybody. Shout out Heston. He sent us a funny tweet.
Yeah.
Today. He's still generating a lot of interest and buzz surrounding Flybox.io. Their demo and their dashboard continues to take greater shape with more expanded feature sets every single day. So definitely check them out. you might help him at some point with understanding the buying landscape of schools and private schools, at least, because he's working on ISDs.
Yeah, him and I have actually texted, and I brought his company up to my vice principal, and we're supposed to move that on and talk with our principal. The only issue is that our principal is retiring, and so it might be easier to talk with the incoming principal rather than the one that's heading out.
Okay. Yeah, he look up his stuff, connect with him on LinkedIn, Angel List, all of that good stuff. I believe in that product. I'm looking to drum up more interest from an investor standpoint and all different types of angles. We need to get him on the show at some point.
Yes.
We need to get Michael on the show at some point. Shout out to Gerald. Thanks for being our punching bag for the last couple weeks. Like,
yeah, man,
we say everything with the most amount of love, and miss you. This is all very funny to us. Shout out to Alec for hosting all of your fight nights.
Yeah, man.
Y'all hit me up next time.
Gotcha.
Shout out to John Seals. John Seals and I had a good conversation this week on the phone, which is a more and more rare occurrence, but we are plotting the bachelor party of 2020.
Oh,
so
there you go.
I'm on 2 bachelor party threads at the moment. One for Michael. 10 guys going to Vegas. What could go wrong? John is going to be...
Can't wait for the podcast after that week.
It's canceled already. And then John, we're going to go to NOLA. Going down to New Orleans, child. N'Orleans. Do some gambling in the bayou. Get some gumbo,
Get some
baby.
Gator.
Man, I love New Orleans. Like, the fact that you can be in this southern French feeling city just with all them tots and fries.
Yeah, just some Cajun.
And then you get to walk into casinos and gamble. Like, what?
That's right.
I mean, the best spots in the world have luxury hotels and attractions and different things like that, but also table games.
Yeah.
I need to be able to hit a blackjack, baby.
I respect that.
So very much looking forward to that. The last time that John and I were in New Orleans was actually on our friend Jeff's bachelor party. And I remember one night we just stayed up all night, and we were like literally at the blackjack tables at like 5:30 in the morning. And our friend Chen was just harassing the crap out of this blackjack dealer to get free breakfast for all of us.
That's amazing.
He was like, "What's up? We tip you, we get breakfast." Like, they wouldn't give us breakfast to save our lives.
That's great.
I've got more stories about.
I have a blackjack story.
I can't tell that story. I ran into somebody in that casino, and this was many years ago, but she was one of the most beautiful women I've probably ever seen in my entire life.
And you can't tell us who it is?
Well, no, I don't know who it is, but
okay.
I didn't realize what was occurring in that moment was my main point. We were having a real nice conversation for quite a little while, and I did not pick up on the fact that she was a prostitute. So, anyway.
Sorry, man.
Yeah. I was like, I thought we had chemistry.
Dang.
So anyway, shout out to her. We'll be seeing you soon. Shout out to Dad's birthday.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing the family this weekend. Meredith and Brian are flying in, so we're looking forward to that.
Nice. Give them a hug from me.
Definitely will do. I don't think I have anything else to plug that makes sense.
Yeah, that's about all I got.
All right, man.
Cool.
Well, thanks for episode 20, dude.
Yeah, locked
This
in.
has been fun. Thanks to Heather for the great name suggestions, and to Dean for the herrings.
Yeah, that's right.
All the red herrings. All right, well, we'll catch you guys up next week on the 21st installment of the Weekly Catch-Up Podcast. You can find me on Twitter at Carson C. Gibbons, Instagram Carson Gibbons, and the show is WKLY Catch-Up Pod on Twitter and weeklycatchuppodcast.com.
That's right. And we'll catch you up next week.